I'm here with a custom track distribution if it wants to cooperate with me. Because Revolution could be a bit of a pain in the butt. God damn it. It's not working now, but it was working before when I was testing. All right, it's working now. Um, I'm here with Mario Kart Times by Fancy and ZPL Gaming. It's supposed to be alpha, and this was released 13 months ago. Oh, the I see the chat is working fine, although it's from one of my bots. But there is supposed to be a couple tracks. I think it's 16 tracks that have been added in here. It only goes up to 2011. Because there's two 2010 cups and a 2009 cup. But they should really consider adding more. Especially since later in the years you get like even better tracks coming out. You might have just seen them before too. Right, Alex? Oh, wrong combo. So it's all going to be all the same for the normal tracks, except the UI is a little messed up because this sort of thing happening. So I'm going to start off with Test Circle, which is one of the first ever custom tracks by Mr. Bean 35,000 VR and Chatters. Whoa. There we go. The UI is just a little messed up on the tracks menu. But other than that, it's just a lot of the old tracks from before. Next up, we've got Lava Canyon. Oh yeah, this definitely needs a lot of work, but then again, it's in the alpha stage. Well, supposed to be, but they lost motivation to do any sort of fixes onto it. Next up is Lava Canyon, also by Mr. Bean 35,000 VR and Chatters. If it's working. I think this one froze on me. It's kind of annoying. And it's not like CTGPR where it has like a bug catcher, essentially. Okay, so that's one freeze today on Lava Canyon. Because I know that track works. I've played on it a couple times. It's probably just the way it was put on. Might as well try it again to see if it works. But it probably won't. At least Revolution is working for now. I hope Lava Canyon actually works. Because I still like that track a little bit. If it doesn't work this time, I'm probably going to move on to the next track. I can't be bothered to reset the Wii U again. It doesn't seem like it's working. And I don't think it's the track itself that's having the issues. Ugh. Then I guess I'll have to move on to the next track. It might take a while to boot back up. But there we go. The first problem in this distribution. I could probably do some more, but I kind of feel like something small right now. Especially especially since I have a couple more things I need to do around the house. Especially finding my controller for my PC, so I can start playing some of the back catalog of games I have on Steam and GOG. A couple on Origin, come to think of it. Well, I just hope the other tracks in this distribution actually work properly. Because I know all these tracks work on their own. Of course, you have to make sure with some of them you put them on the right slots, like Test Circle and Lava Canyon have to be on GBA Shy Guy Beach because of the presence of the ship. Alright, next up we've got Mushroom Peaks by Mr. Bean 35,000 VR and Chatters again. It's also the old version without the TV screen and the harsher respawns. Because they definitely made it a little easier with some KMP changes, which is rather nice. I'm not gonna make it. Nope. I got punished. Whew. I also like the remake that Ferv made not too long ago, based on Mushroom Peaks. It actually makes it look better and plays better too. And to think this track came out a decade ago. and that it gets a high quality remake. And rather than making it 3 laps long, it's 2. Which is also quite nice. Whoa, nope. I'm gonna have to go back to the old first ramp. I was so lucky. Whew. I wonder if they have like a couple seasons of Ace Attorney on Netflix. Probably do. I'm gonna head back to that ramp or even further back. Yep, further back. Hmm? Double A's? Yeah, I have a couple in my I have them in the drawer of my end table. I could probably just grab them out for you after this race. I doubt it's the remote. And since you'd be playing, you're playing that on a Wii or a Wii U? Okay, so you should be fine. Since they haven't had an update since 2011. Well, 2010 technically. 9 years since Nintendo's actually updated the Wii. And they've essentially pulled the plug on about everything. Let me see. Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, which was running on GameSpy, was shut down 5 years ago. But GameSpy was actually live 10 days before GameSpy pulled the plug on Nintendo. Yes. It's still interesting to think that the community cares so much about these Nintendo games that they actually decide to support. They decide to hack for the system to keep it alive for much longer, and it's very effective. And their anti-cheat system's actually better than Nintendo's. I have 2 AA batteries in my room, if you want to go grab them. You're welcome. I think Troy should use the gold booster seats and have Atlas make it for him. That would be interesting. And this time put it on Baby Daisy. The golden booster seat, which it has all the stat perks. Because he's already did the gold wing, there's also the gold runner. Why not the gold seat? Oh. Like not even navigating the menu? And you'd have to put in like a classic controller and just do that from there. I think I have a couple. Hang on. I have a Luigi one. See how... where it is. Oh, there it is. No problem. Could probably get you a couple of Wiimotes. Just in case, because there's still plenty in stock. Okay. Next up, we've got SNES Rainbow Road, also by Mr. Bean 35,000 VR and Chatters. The oldest of all the SNES Rainbow Roads. Yeah, before more of them came. A couple of them within just this year. Though they look really nice. Because a couple of them are based off the Mario Kart 8 version. Did it have something to do with the sensor bar? That makes sense. I just have two sensor bars. Again, one for the Wii and one for the Wii U. Hmm. I just have the ones that came with the systems. They're fine, because they just do what I need. Though of course that I'll probably need them more when playing games like Wii Play or Wii Music. The Tanks game is pretty fun to play, though you can only play it offline. Okay. I hear Mario Kart. No problem. Next up, we've got in the 2010 Mario Cup is Incendia Castle, also by Mr. Bean 35,000 VR and Chatters. Then again, Incendia Castle is a pretty nice track. And I hope it's the one with the edited KMP as well, because that actually made the AI work correctly after you finish a race. Oh, thank you for the host, Kanto. I just noticed that as soon as it started. Thankfully, the alert box works perfectly, even with the sound and the rupees now. Which version of CTGPR do you have? Because there's one... Yeah. The latest update to it was a couple weeks ago. Unless you count like the channel update as well. Which was actually 4 days ago. I still have my eyes set on having like a custom track based on like some MVM maps. That would be cool, but I wouldn't know how to make it look or work properly. Especially since you have to convert basically maps that work on the source engine to a Mario Kart track. Of course, you can have like the track concept can work fine with, say, the same concept as Mount Wario or Makawoohoo, where you have basically one lap. Or the Mario Kart 8 version of N64 Rainbow Road. That one I think is a much better version than the one on the original Nintendo 64. Because you're not spending 6 minutes on a track or longer. Instead, you're normally spending like 2 minutes. Because the last thing you want to do is race for like 6 minutes straight on that kind of track. And there's already a couple custom tracks out there that are based entirely around racing from just a one lap track. Like Dawn Township, for example. Or MP9 Toad Road, which is more or less a port from Mario Party 9. Oh, working KMP. Excellent. Alright, so up next for the tracks is Bowser Jr.'s Fort by Vulcanus 2. I hope that track gets remade soon. It definitely looks like it needs a remake. Even if it is still relatively fun to play on. A remake would do this track justice, that's for sure. Ooh, shock dodge, perfect. Yes! Good thing I saved that mushroom. Yes. It's always a good reason to hold on to mushrooms. Of course, the thing that can absolutely destroy you would be a shock. Yeah. They're a little easier to dodge than, say, shocks. Because you can only avoid it by either falling in an out-of-bounds area or going through a cannon. If you get the timing just right, which is almost impossible for human hands to do consistently, then you just have to hop at the right time just to avoid some POW damage. But since human hands can't do it consistently, as I said, then likelihood is you're going to be losing that item. Next up, we've got Bowser's Dark Castle by WP Twister. It's another fairly old track, considering this one's from Mario Kart times, so nothing past 2011 yet. If only Smash Custom Music was back up, because then you can have like all sorts of custom music at your fingertips. But given the controversy surrounding Nintendo, it's very unlikely. Oh, so close! If I was in a slightly faster vehicle, I actually might have made it. Toad will always have throat cancer. And my top comment on that video proves it. Oof. Damn. That's pretty bad. Does it work on other games or? Oh. Another GameCube controller? Or nunchuck? Oh, I see. Come on, can I make it this time? Yes! I did it. It'd certainly be a lot easier to test whether the GameCube controller works when we get our games in tomorrow. When we find the time, of course. Ugh. I won't be able to pull off the shortcut like this. Most inconvenient shocks in Mario Kart history always involve a target. This is close enough. Then again, Troy's gotten some pretty nasty target shocks when playing through Mario Kart. Then again, you're indeed. At least in Mario Kart, they don't have like any means to be malicious towards each other in chat. In game. A series of embittered diatribes. Yes. And this is not meant to poison the well either. Yeah. It's important to look into the histories of some people before making a full assessment. This actually marks the halfway points for tracks, which is nice. Though there were a couple better choices in 2010 as well. At least they picked Thwomp Cave, though. That's still one of my personal old favorites from K-Hacker. Considering that Space Road felt like it was way too long and there's like the middle of the track was a bit of a pain in the ass to get consistently, you know, with that bouncy part. But it's been remade countless times by Maxi. Anywho, next up we've got Bowser's Castle 1 by EC2 Joshi. I'm pretty sure this is loosely based off the one from Mario Kart Super Circuit. The tracks were alright, but the gameplay was pretty bad compared to other Mario Karts in my opinion. I'd say it's tied for the other two first entries. Mario Kart Double Dash for the win. For sure. At least it wasn't as a buggy, hellish mess. But the carts were slippery. Like, it's so much easier to stay on the road with Mario Kart Wii and later games. Even Mario Kart DS was pretty easy to stay on the road. But it's basically, if you can get those drifts very quickly, then you could just keep going and going. Though all you really need to do in the later games is just hold on to it and release as soon as you get it. There's a couple WiiWare games that I'd like to pick up, but the only way to get them now would just be through homebrew. Because you can't really use the online shop anymore. The Wii shopping channel is dead. Just like practically everything on the Wii. Unless, at least... Exactly. Because wherever Nintendo drops the ball, everyone else is just picking it up. Yeah. Unlike Valve, which just leaves Team Fortress 2 and a couple other of their titles, basically... Yes. Where it's basically a wasteland. I still like playing TF2, it's just... There's a lot of waste in it. Especially with the bad code. Like, I think I did it's like back on Monday with the whole pyro exploit. Anyways, next up is Green Hill Zone by Meep and Meta Knight 2550. It's an old but gold one. One of the first Sonic-based custom tracks, but it's fun to play on, even if there was no loop. Even then, Mario Kart Wii is not built for that. It's not like Mario Kart DS. I'd still love to try out that pyro exploit again. Because it just shows how busted the game is. And they think they fixed the exploits when all they did was change the physical properties of the cones. When the problem still exists, and you can perform it easily with Rottenberg without having to rely on a reviver beacon. But with a reviver beacon, you can just get it stuck almost anywhere you need it to. Phoenix Wright was in the wrong that time. What's right, Phoenix wrong? I mean, what's wrong, Phoenix right? Uh-oh. Next up, we've got Stunny City by Igor Zebra 4. Don't tell me this is another one that's freezing because they put it on the wrong slot. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, I'm not even going to try it next time. Moving on to the next one. So that's 2 tracks that are broken on this distribution. Most likely because they didn't make it work. It's going to be another 5 minutes of setup. Maybe longer if Revolution decides to nip at me again. Ah! Please, Revolution. Please work for me. You've done it before. It's kind of annoying that it happens like this. Yes, finally! Two tracks I'm gonna have to skip over because they don't seem to work because someone didn't bother to test some of these slots. Just knowing that Mario Kart's a bit of a weird beast. So next up we've got Thwomp Cave by K-Hacker. I might consider getting the Starbucks there next lap, if it's even there. Because it looks like there's been some changes to this track in textures and more thwomps. That's always good. Oh, so this is the one where they removed it. Oh, Alex, is there Ace Attorney the definitive collection or something like that on Steam? I need to play a lot of those games since the anime is just so interesting to me as well. Yeah. Because Ace Attorney is always fun to play and watch. Though running it would be too easy, especially if you have like the clues in your notes for everything. The clues, dialogue boxes, and all that in your notes. And then you just consistently press buttons, because that kind of speedrun wouldn't be nearly as interesting as, say, the Wind Waker. Yeah, just like NVM. Or some of those levels in Yoshi's Island. Next up, we've got Pipeline Speedway by Igor Zebra 4. Now remember that there's actually the updated version, which looks more like the concept art used for that track from years ago. With the current tools we have now, it's certainly much easier than it was when this track was made. I always found it funny how pompous some of those witnesses were in Ace Attorney. Well, with some of them, it's just because, you know, some of them are guilty. And then you have, that old lady who never stops talking. She's funny. It's also funny how she's always doting on Miles Edgeworth because of his looks. She certainly works a lot of menial work, like a security guard for a studio and then for a hotel. She was just absolutely hilarious. Imagine losing a 40-year victory streak as a prosecutor to a rookie and then going to jail. Yes. Sometimes when it comes to losing, you just have to take a bullet and just move on. Well, take a hit and move on. Though sometimes that could be a hard pill to swallow. But as long as everyone tries, it's all that matters. Next up, we've got Sky Courtyard by Hello, I'm Your Mind. And that one actually got like a super version of it. And there was even an update to this track recently that I did on my channel. Definitely makes it look and play better. Though the cataquacks have always been strange in Mario Kart Wii. Like, in GCN Peach Beach, they work fine, but if some of the other tracks that are on GCN Peach Beach that use cataquacks will freeze for some reason. And that is a very bizarre bug. Phoenix is always wrong. Just kidding. You only lost one case because his defendant was basically used a hitman to hold one of his friends hostage. But once everything came to light, even the fact that he was going to use video of the murder to blackmail the assassin, well, it led to a house of cards falling down for him and not for everyone else. That case always makes me smile, putting a smug SOB in his place. Almost like it's almost like putting Von Karma in his place for trying to prosecute the son of the attorney he killed You mean for this track? Yes. There's a lot of cannons in a lot of these tracks. Some of them are a little more unfitting than others. Yes, here comes one of my favorites, codename Big Box by Gilmon 35249 VR. 35,249 VR. And that's the one with the star box, I think. Unless there's an update to that version. Though I do know that the one that was more shaped like an octagon also had AI param. Oh, this is the edited version too. So it's like App Luma Freaks version. Forget what his full name was, but I do know that he's a Luma. So I think this is the one without AI param. I think it's also omits the star boxes as well. Well, at least they made it to work this time. Especially with those traffic cones. Because the traffic cones and the sun from DS Desert Hills only works on both Daisy Circuit and DS Desert Hills. Which is rather odd, but that just means that you're gonna have to be a little more careful in your item selection. Can't have a ship and the traffic cones in the same track. Or ice. Unless the ice is unused. Phoenix Wright is taking over the world. I think he was in one of the Marvel vs. Capcom games as well, now that I think about it. It's like, how do attorneys fight outside of a court of law? They wouldn't have much in the way of strength compared to, say, Street Fighter characters or Mega Man, or say heroes like the Avengers and Spider-Man and Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange and Thanos. Man, Marvel has a lot. Oh, and I also forgot a Devil Slayer. You know, with Dante. Next up, we've got Troy Circuit by I Nellum. the one that looks really bad, and I think another remake. There's a couple remakes for it, and I've played on all of them. That feeling when a succubus, an attorney, a devil slayer, a machine, and a, a street brawler all come together to fight superheroes and villains. Including raccoons. Yes. Oh! Ah! Fail. Oh, and a demigod. And a scientist that has been affected by gamma ray radiation. But then again, if you look at Super Smash Bros., it's also just as ridiculous too. You got a swordsman, you got a bounty hunter from space, you've got some mercenaries from space as well. Though they're a different breed than, say, the lone one. A plumber. Oh, yes, and a super tough pink puff. Oh, yes, and some animals, too. Then you have, basically the mayor's assistant. Plenty of swordsmen, as well as a knight. And a dinosaur. And a king. A couple kings. Like King DDD and King K. Rool. Not to mention Ganondorf. And a couple princesses. An astronaut with his alien companions. A couple kids. And the dog and the duck. And now we've got some more, like we have a high school student that's also a vigilante hero with a mask on. And a couple of heroes from a lost time that normally fight slimes. Let me see, there's also a bear and his bird. And now there's gonna be another street brawler. Well, I think he just came out yesterday, or a couple days ago. Time for the last track of this distribution, which should be Fish Dome Island by Big Auto 2. That one's still always a fun one to play on, considering I've done a couple of those time trial runs. Looks like it's an older version too, like a much older version. This was before the hotel and some extra scenery were added. Because Punch City was supposed to be in the background with Water Island, I think. More ink. This might be the thumbnail. And then again, just about any of these parts can be the thumbnail. It's just usually that the ink is where the thumbnail is. Oh. Hi, wait, hold on. Just playing through an old distribution from last year. But I can tell you that there are 2 tracks on there that won't work because the way they probably coded their distribution was a little improper. Let me see. The 2 tracks that didn't work before were Troy Circuit and... No, not that. It's Stunny City and Lava Canyon that don't seem to be working. Everything else works somewhat fine. There's some issues with the UI. But other than that, it's alright. But thank you all for coming. And for those who are watching it on YouTube, be sure to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/AlphaMarioX, and that's where I'm going to be doing a lot of my live streams now, as I find it much easier to work with. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night.